Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to a special group podcast of the McJeffrey 500, the podcast where I get my friends to watch my favorite films. I got 500 of them. This is number 484. Today we will be watching a film and doing the podcast in real time as the movie's going. My co-hosts are Mr. Rob, Mr. Scott, and Mr. Aaron.
What's up, everybody?
All right.
That's not what we're watching, is it?
All right.
Why don't you reveal it already?
You know what? Just push play.
It's going.
Man. All right. We're about to start the movie. If you want to play along at home, the Sony Pictures symbol just came up, so I got notes. We'll talk through it. But yes.
Yes!
Oh, sweet. We are watching.
Come on!
We are watching Spider-Man 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Saw this movie in the theater 3 times.
Oh man, I don't even remember how many times I saw it, but I remember fucking loving it. Like, just like I gave birth to a child.
Even better, huh?
Well, I saw the first Spider-Man, and it was like a revelation. You know, because that was like the first. It was like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man 2 was like, it was it, man. It was it. How about you, Aaron? Because you're another Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, maybe I'm biased. Spider-Man can do no wrong to me.
Okay,
I even can stand the third one.
But can you...
No. The third one is actually okay. It's actually okay.
What about the new ones?
The new ones.
Same.
No.
See, that's the thing. I can take Jamie Foxx even as Electro. I can take it. I can take that.
It wasn't so much Jamie Foxx as Electro. It was Jamie Foxx just sad sacking through that entire movie. It's
you know what I thought of when I
birthday.
saw Amazing Spider-Man 2? Huh. I felt like I was watching Batman and Robin all over again.
That
fun, lighthearted, still action-packed. Like that?
Fun, lighthearted. Oh man, all those positive connotations you bring up.
And
not at all.
And he was extended a line of Spider credit. Never leave home
Peter
without
Parker
it.
busted out the Spider-Man MasterCard.
Spider MasterCard.
No, I'm actually appreciative of this because this being such a long list, there's going to be, I imagine, 1 or 2 movies that I don't agree with. This is actually a pleasant surprise.
Okay.
But the fact that it's on 484.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's 483
I
movies.
remember when I was in the theater and I was seeing the opening credits, and the opening credits were the Alex Ross essentially painted version of the original movie.
Which we're
I was
watching
like,
right now.
oh man, this is gonna be fucking amazing.
Alex
Now,
Ross painting the Macho Man Randy Savage.
I know, right?
Boom saw.
I was like, this is gonna be great.
God, there's so much I love about these movies that I've forgotten because I haven't watched this in so long.
When was the last time everyone's seen this movie?
It's been at least...
Right before Amazing
5.
Spider-Man came out, I watched the trilogy because I wanted to be able to sort of like compare it because they essentially gave up on Sam Raimi to make this reboot, and I was like, you fucking made a mistake.
That's true. There are some really good Raimi moments in this film, too.
Oh no, Amazing Spider-Man 2 has the most Raimiest moment of the entire trilogy.
Just remember, it's not amazing. It's just Spider-Man.
I'm sorry. Of Spider-Man 2 with the birth of Dr. Octopus.
The most adjectiveless moment of all the Spider-Man films.
Right. It's exactly. It's just Spider-Man. But yeah, the birth of Dr. Octopus is like the most Raimiest of all the Spider-Man.
And really, it elevated Alfred Molina's career beyond being the guy who...
Yeah, he was an art movie guy, and then he became like a guy that would be in movies.
Well, let's not forget in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Alfred Molina's moment.
Oh, that was so long ago. Nobody even knows it's Alfred Molina.
I grabbed the wrong notes.
What do you have notes for, Jeff?
These are right notes. I have the rough draft notes. I made like a nicer list.
Oh.
Wait, maybe it's in here. Woo! Wait, maybe? No, that's a previous.
I was under the impression this was a professional podcast.
It'll get there. All right. I can work with this.
You know, I was riding way high on Kirsten Dunst around the time of this movie.
She got so much flack.
She is in my second favorite movie of all time.
Elizabethtown?
No. Although my wife had the Elizabeth Town poster in her bedroom when we started dating.
All right, second favorite, Interview with the Vampire.
No.
Wimbledon.
No.
Virgin Suicides.
No. It's a comedy.
Oh, Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yep.
That's right. You fucking love that movie.
Unapologetically.
No, that's a good one.
Is it?
It's a good one. I don't know if I'd name it my favorite movie of all time, but...
Second.
In fact, you wouldn't.
Can people hear this?
Asif Mavi before, people knew who the hell he was.
Is the volume for this thing high enough?
We're not. No, we don't want to hear the movie on the podcast. We just want to hear us.
But I want to hear the movie.
No, you know the movie inside out. Do not turn it up. It's fine. You can put the subtitles on if you want. If that helps.
Ooh.
So we have our
subtitled, so it's like a foreign film.
So we have our Peter Parker. He's now a pizza
So
delivery.
after the
Pizza Parker.
first Spider-Man, Aaron, what were your expectations for Spider-Man 2?
The Spider-Man theme has always been about him dealing with the whole responsibility, and even in the cartoon there comes a point where he still has to come to grips with his powers, so I kind of expected this plot for this movie.
Which is the Spider-Man No More?
Yeah, where he's like, he realizes that he doesn't want, if he's going to accept his powers, he has to live this life, and he doesn't want it, and that's a common Spider-Man theme. I don't think other heroes have to deal with it, like Iron Man doesn't worry about, I don't want to be smart anymore. I don't want to be a billionaire,
Here's the thing about this, though. I feel like this movie almost ruined the whole superhero genre up after this, because every superhero movie wanted to be this, which is like the hero denying his destiny. It's like, I don't want to be a hero.
I don't want to be the Hulk
I don't
anymore.
want to be. Like, no, it happened in so many other superhero movies after this. Like, you don't understand. This is just one story of Spider-Man. You don't have to do it for every superhero. Like Hal Jordan denying him being Green Lantern doesn't make sense. He wants to be Hal Jordan from the start. It doesn't make sense to fit that, shoehorn that sort of idea into that storyline.
Hal Jordan is without fear. Why would he fear being
the Green
Lantern?
Exactly. He's like nothing like that. Hey, look, it's
Zoe Deschanel's sister.
Right, what's her name?
Emily?
The other Deschanel.
Bones Deschanel.
Bones Deschanel. That's not what we call her that. Bones Deschanel.
I think it's because it's an easy theme
Podcast name.
to shoehorn every hero in. You can do it with Batman, you can do it with Spider-Man, you can do it with Hulk, you can do it with everybody.
I guess so, but I think what it was is because of the success of Spider-Man 2. Up until this
and
point...
Seabiscuit.
Up until this point, I think Spider-Man 2 was sort of like it was the most successful superhero movie. It was the most critically acclaimed superhero movie. So every other studio was like, well, we gotta make our superhero movie like Spider-Man 2. What's the deal with Spider-Man 2? He doesn't want to be Spider-Man. Okay, well, let's make every story like that.
But it's not as bad as your constant, the grimdark, which you hate so much, right?
Man.
They do not do grimdark here.
They don't. They don't. No. That's
Grimdark comes
Raimi
later.
Doesn't know how to do grimdark. Raimi always has some sentimentality.
He does light gore.
Whenever he does introduce gore, there's always like a funniness to it. There's almost a comedic nature.
He chopped up his own hand.
Yeah. Even in the sequence that's coming up where Dr. Octopus is born, there's a gleefulness to it that you can't help but get into, even though he's murdering this entire operation room of surgeons and doctors and nurses. There's like a playfulness to it all that you can't help but get. It's infectious.
You could set it to any number of 80s trailer songs with the timpanis going boom, 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 boom.
Right. Right. Even Yakety Sack would work with it. We'd be all into it.
There's an Oscar winner.
But compare
Radio
this
Raheem.
to sort of the recent trailer release we were talking about, Batman vs. Superman. Have you seen that, Aaron?
I have.
Oh, man.
Do you bleed?
Yeah. Is that not like a fucking superhero or supervillain line?
Yeah.
Do you bleed?
Oh, you will. Why do you keep saying it like that? You haven't watched the fucking
That's how I
trailer.
imagine when you have a line like that. That's how I imagine you deliver it.
But it's Ben Affleck.
As a supervillain talking to
That's a good
Superman.
point. Somebody should be saying that to Batman. That's what I would expect, yeah.
Right.
Well, we know Batman bleeds.
No, but that's his myth, that he's supposed to be this dark figure. Now he is becoming, I don't know.
Like I was saying, I was posting on the internets that I think people have completely misunderstood that The Dark Knight Returns is a satire. It's sort of a deconstruction of the Batman premise. It's not meant to be taken seriously. This is at a time where Frank Miller was actually self-aware before he kind of lost his way. And
Before 9/11?
Right, before he decided, I am a crusader. I am Batman. Because Frank Miller had this like point where he understood that what he was making was a joke. Like he was sort of like tearing down superheroes, sort of like Alan Moore did with
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Watch persons.
Yeah, watch persons. But at a certain point, Frank Miller lost sight of that and decided he was going to embody the things that he actually was railing against in the 80s and early 90s. Even with Batman and Robin, his all-star Batman and Robin, I feel like he kind of knew what he was doing. Like Batman's a crazy person in that.
Yes.
You read that?
Yes.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's like, I'm the goddamn Batman. You know who I am?
With Batgirl calling everyone cunts like Hit Girl.
Right. And fucking Robin nearly murdering Green Lantern or whatever, or was it Batman and nearly murdered Green Lantern
with a room all painted yellow.
Yes,
It was so good. It was so bad and so good at the same time.
But I felt like Frank Miller knew what he was doing was a complete tearing down of the whole idea of Batman and the whole premise of it. And I think Christopher Nolan was doing that also with his Batman movies. I mean, if you watch those The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins, I think if you really think about it, you realize what Christopher Nolan is saying, like, you can't have a Batman. That doesn't work in real life. It doesn't. That's why at the end of Dark Knight, he essentially says, I'm going to pretty much retire. I'm done. Because the only way that this can continue is if other people take up the cause and I can be the symbol, but I can't do what I'm doing because there's going to be this escalation where these other crazy people come out of the woodworks and sort of, cause things to go even escalate things even further.
Well, that's the different world, though, right? Because that Nolan world is based on some sort of reality.
Right.
This one obviously has thrown all that out the window.
Right. No, this is a Zack Snyder world.
Yes.
Where Zack Snyder's all about the awesome action and like bro
and abs.
Right, and abs.
And shiny looking women.
Right, so
so you can do misunderstanding of the
sweat.
Frank Miller text on The Dark Knight Returns.
But we could fill a book with things that Zack Snyder misunderstands. I just think that, and getting to the subject of the movie that we're watching, there's a certain joy that at least I look for when I'm reading a comic book or watching a comic book movie, and I felt like these movies had that. And on the subject of people missing the point with regards to Frank Miller, can we remind Michael Bay that Ninja Turtles is just a Daredevil parody?
Right, yeah. and the other thing that people don't even think about is that Batman, the modern day version of Batman, is actually completely based on Frank Miller's run on Daredevil in the 80s. He left Marvel, he had done Daredevil, he came over to DC and he did Batman Year One and then Dark Knight. And people don't realize before that, Batman was kind of silly. He did silly stuff. It was only until Frank Miller came along and brought his sort of like eye for really gritty stuff, film noir stuff, to the character that he became the version that people kind of identify Batman as being now. And I think that's kind of interesting when you think about it. It's like, that's not what Batman used to be. What he used to be was more like the 1960s Batman.
Have other major characters gone through that sort of change too? Like, has Spidey done that through the movies?
I think Spider-Man. Well, I think in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, he's turned into like emo. Like Andrew Garfield is a great actor, but that's not anyone's idea of what Peter Parker is. He's like
way
a cool
too handsome.
skater dude.
He's way too handsome.
He's like an emo skater dude who listened to Coldplay as he fucking grinded his skateboard on various skate parks and whatnot.
Jeff has done the same thing on many an occasion.
I never claimed to be Spider-Man. But isn't that closer to what the Ultimates version of Spider-Man is, though? Doesn't he not
Maybe.
skateboard?
Even in the Ultimate Spider-Man, he was kind of a super dork. He didn't go skateboarding, and
I thought he did.
the thing is, like Andrew Garfield was like a cool dude who, at a graduation in high school, skateboards into the graduation and kisses his girlfriend.
Peter would have never done that.
Yeah, that's not a character. That's a different kind of character.
What I do like about Tobey Maguire's one is that, and in the early Spider-Man comics, Peter didn't take any crap from anybody. Like even Flash, he wouldn't outright beat him up, but he definitely wouldn't be made a fool of in public, And this one sometimes he does, but he's a little bit of a sad sack. But the old Peter Parker would stick up for himself, which is kind of nice.
I just felt the problem with the Amazing Spider-Man movie was with Andrew Garfield, especially the first one, was everything was just way too sexy. Like, Andrew Garfield, just, you could just stare at him for hours. Even Sally Field as Aunt May was way too hot. I mean, Aunt May has always been
Aunt
like...
May in this movie
Rosemary Harris.
The epitome of what Aunt May, as us the readers, envisioned her. Like,
She's
Aunt May's been the same since 1963 up until, Sally Field suddenly became Aunt May.
She's supposed to be like the grandma and the grandma's cookies package.
Right.
Like, with a blouse that has the collar that, like, looks Elizabethan almost.
And always sick, like 1 foot in the grave.
Yeah, like always dying.
Yes.
Like, that's always
30 years of almost dying.
Because Peter has to like take pictures of Spider-Man to get the money to pay for her, like her dialysis this issue.
I know a lot of people complain that Mary Jane Watson of the movies wasn't the Mary Jane Watson from the comic books. She wasn't a supermodel, like super hot, like very busty, curvaceous. But at the same time, it's like, that's a comic book character. How do you translate that to real life? You translate that because she really was literally the girl next door. How do you do that? You bring in an actress that can embody that.
And then when she does her modeling thing in the movies, they doll her up a little bit. I mean, what do they really want her to look like? A supermodel? Like, wafer thin and lots of coke?
I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. And also, like with the Amazing Spider-Man movies, they hired the Shailene Woodley, is her name, I think, from the Insurgent movies. It was a big uproar because she wasn't hot enough. So all the fanboys just went nuts on that.
Weren't they coming to the same conclusion with Kirsten Dunst, though? They were, kept on focusing on her teeth for some reason. And I think Kirsten Dunst is very attractive, and I've had no issues whatsoever with her in these movies.
I've said this once, and I'll say it again.
Okay.
Here's what it comes down to.
Is there a worse phrase than that?
I've said... No, listen. Jocks used to rule the earth, and now nerds have inherited the earth. Mm-hmm. It's worse. Nerds are worse than jocks. Because nerds have sort of like grown up in this sort of like environment where they feel they have to overcompensate because they've been put upon for so long. And so because of that, they're super misogynistic and they overcompensate for a lot.
So basically, Revenge of the Nerds is a lie.
Yeah, it is. They're not progressive thinking. They're not,
What about Revenge of the Nerds told you that they were progressive?
They were inclusive.
That they were rapey.
Yeah.
That was the perfect embodiment of what happened.
Nerds that have inherited the earth is even worse than it was when the jocks were around. That's my opinion. Because I think they're worse people than the jocks were.
Really? You think nerds have inherited the earth over jocks? I haven't seen a nerd beat up his wife in an elevator and get away with it yet. Have you?
But nerds will succumb to the powers of the nerd and say, "Okay, sir, yes, I will bow down to you."
But instead, they've given us Uber, so.
Yeah, I just feel like nerds control the culture a lot more than
I agree with that
than the jocks do anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So Peter Parker's got his own place now, which was never implied in the first one. He was still living with Aunt May, was he not? Or
he was still living at home.
So now
he graduated high school at the end of the first movie, or I guess midway through the first movie. That's the other thing about these movies. Peter Parker doesn't spend very much time in high school.
No, and
that's like
apparently he's going back.
The best stories were when he was in high school,
think
right?
So?
The Steve Ditko years was
Ditko.
Ditko.
Is it
Ditko?
I think it's a K in there.
Ditko?
Ditko.
Ditko.
Stephen Ditko.
You know when Peter Parker had the boxing match with Flash Thompson.
I remember that.
I like that he lives in a hovel from the 1920s.
It is New York,
But he has a toaster oven.
And for such a smart guy, why can't he make ends meet?
Well, because he's
a
busy
high
being
school kid,
and
he's a college student.
and he's Spider-Man. He doesn't get enough sleep. He doesn't
Let's
get.
parlay that into some other sort of job, though, you know?
Here's the thing, though. This is the beginning of his career, so this makes sense. This is what people identify with Peter Parker in the early years, which is he's just a guy who's trying to make ends meet, go to school, and be Spider-Man. Later on, what's interesting about the whole Spider-Man idea is like he does evolve. He gets married. He gets a job as a teacher. He does mature.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting. Although when they did that whole One Fine Day or whatever, where they reverted everything
Back,
people were. I didn't like that idea either, but I can understand that people wanted to bring him back to square one or something.
Does anyone else watch this scene where Alfred Molina is meeting James Franco for the first time, and you're wishing that instead of James Franco, it was Steve Coogan?
Oh, coffee and cigarettes reference. Nice. Well, now Harry Osborn is now he runs the
He's the new head of Oscorp.
head of Oscorp because Daddy's dead. If we think Spider-Man killed him, but we know differently because we saw the first movie, which is not on this list.
But bringing back the conversation to the whole idea of grim, dark superheroes and how this is like a shining beacon of how superhero movies could be, is that there's joy in it. You know,
Depends depending on the hero, right? Spider-Man's theme was this.
but at the same time, I think the only other superhero who is grim, the only superhero where it makes sense to be grim, dark, there's only two.
Batman.
Big Bird.
Batman
Big Bird.
and Punisher. Those are the only two that make sense.
The Crow.
The Crow, he doesn't even count. He doesn't even count as a superhero that I care about. I'm not talking about the big two, DC and Marvel. What other superhero makes sense for it to be as grim dark as it is with Batman and Punisher?
Did you buy Wolverine as grimdark?
No, I don't.
Because of
think
the X-Men?
I don't think the X-Men is grim dark.
Not X-Men.
No, when he
Wolverine.
went solo.
Yeah.
No, Wolverine I don't think
like,
is grim dark either.
like either Frank Miller or Chris Claremont's runs on Wolverine.
No, I mean, yeah.
He's not
fucking
grimdark.
Wolverine
He's
is
spent centuries killing
gallivanting
people.
in outer space. Fucking Wolverine is gallivanting in outer space in some of these.
He's
But
walked through
how
human
many wives
history.
does the guy have to lose in a
Yeah.
lifetime?
He's walked
lost
through
a
human
Japanese
history.
wife.
Some of that stuff is not even real. It's like memory implants, right?
But he's still killing people. Even in the fake memories, he's killing people.
He's lost Jean Grey. He lost his first girlfriend when he was a kid.
And for the record, I believe Batman has been in space.
So the very first story that Wolverine is featured in is him taking on the Hulk.
Yeah.
There's no grim darkness in that. It's fucking fantastical, man.
He got turned into a weapon by the Canadian government.
That's later on. That's later on,
the
man.
Canadian
That's
government.
later on, man. Let's
Yeah,
talk
how
about-
badass is he that the Canadians turned him into we only make one weapon, and it's Wolverine.
What about Alpha Flight? It's just a whole team of fucking weirdos. We got a fucking Yeti.
Puck.
We got a fucking midget.
Got some shaman.
We got a gay guy who works with another girl that makes...
That's twin sister.
Right. They're like, what is his power? What is it even his power?
He
really
flies
fast,
at
he
super
flies.
speeds.
Okay.
And when
Don't
he
they like join hands and
They make blinding
That's
light.
why he's Night North Star, right?
and she's Aurora.
Okay, yeah.
Shatterstar
Yeah, I
there?
read.
That's
Actually
two
read
stories?
Alpha
No,
Flight.
Shatterstar is from like the Mojo verse.
That's
Oh, okay,
X-Force.
that's right.
Wow, we're super
Alpha-
geeking out.
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
Right, yeah, he's the Yeti.
You got shaman, talisman, guardian.
Yeah, Wolverine, not grimdark.
Good. It was a good
I
read.
don't think Wolverine's grimdark. No, he's got too many.
Not even the Weapon X stories. Not
No.
grimdark.
No, that's sort of like a side story.
What about Daredevil?
Daredevil, I feel like he's a street level superhero, which means that he could be dark. But if you read his comic books, he's kind of like a wisecracking. He and Spider-Man are kind of like on the same page a lot
They're-
of times.
Yeah, he's got a little more angst, I think, than Spidey does.
Sure, he definitely has more angst. He's got that Catholic guilt, so that kind of informs it a little bit. But at the same time,
He has
I feel
his
like,
undead Greek ninja girlfriend.
right. But I think he has a sense of humor.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
until Frank Miller got his hands on him, Frank Miller is the one that kind of gets his hands on these superheroes and really like gritties them up. He's got grimy hands. He's got grimy mitts. So when he gets his hands all over them, they're left dirty. So it takes a little bit of time. It takes like a Mark Waid or a Michael Bendis to Brian Michael Bendis to step in to clean them up a little bit before you realize, oh, they look underneath all that grime was actually like a really interesting, fun character.
I think there's a problem with a lot of comic companies is that they see something that works and then they say, okay, you did this with Daredevil, why don't you do it with Batman? You did it with Batman, come on and take on Wolverine.
Image Comics is the epitome of that sort of like, let's make it all like this. And what happened with Image Comics? It didn't survive the way that it wanted to. It lasted like a couple of years before it had to have major changes.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better now. They're doing a lot better now.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But like the whole Shadowhawk and Spawn. Yeah,
I think Spawn and Savage Dragon are the only two comic book characters still being published right now from that original run
that are continuously ongoing since then.
I don't even know if Savage Dragon is still going.
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay.
Eric Larson's still doing it. Spawn just hit issue 250. But they've taken
You work at a comic book store, so you know what still is still coming.
He was the Image convention.
Yeah, I went to Image every year in San Francisco. Hosts an exposition basically because why go to Comic-Con in San Diego where you're competing with all these movie releases, all 6,000 different things, every publisher in the industry to announce anything when you can control your own press. Have an event where only your superstar creators come to, and then you'll just pay attention to them.
Right.
And that was the thing that they kind of... I think when they started doing those, it was kind of the sign that they had moved on. I think they started it with their 20th anniversary. Pretty much every year since then they've done it, and every year since then it just shows how much they're diversifying what they put out. And that
they have really interesting titles now. They have very interesting titles that are independent, that are different.
Hey,
that don't...
Joy Bryant cameo.
They're getting all the writers and artists from Marvel and DC who've cut their teeth there, and then they want a piece of their own pie because you're not going to make money off telling the next great Spider-Man story because Marvel, DC, and Disney are going to get all that money from it. And I mean, this kind of brings us to the problem of what happened with the Spider-Man series when it was out of Marvel's hands versus, what they've been able to do within their own house.
Well, now what's interesting is that it's going back into Marvel hands. I mean, I think with the first three movies, they were in good hands. I think with Sam Raimi, you had a really good filmmaker who actually cared about the character and actually wanted to do something interesting with the character. And then after that, you had the studio who's like, let's make it for young people. Let's go Twilight on it. Let's cast a bunch of young people. Let's, the original idea with Amazing Spider-Man was to make it small, to make it more of like a high school drama. Mm-hmm. And then they threw that out the window and they fucking had lizard men, Like, it wasn't just a lizard, but like lizard men in the fucking movie.
With the kicker from The Replacements as your main lizard.
Right. And so it's sort of like, they just...
Reese fans for your...
Right.
for those at home.
But for whatever reason, it did not chime with people. They did not like it. They didn't like Amazing Spider-Man 2 all that much. And so now they're like, okay, fine, Marvel, here you go. You can have the character back for a couple of your Marvel movies. And he's going to be in Civil War. I guess he's going to have his own Spider-Man movie, but with Marvel. Phil Lord and Chris Miller are actually going to do or is it Chris Lord and Phil Miller? I can't remember. Those guys who did the 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, they're making an animated movie with him. So it's going to be an interesting, period of time from now until 2019 when it reverts back to Sony completely.
So Peter Parker just missed the play.
Yeah.
The importance of being earnest.
Yeah, so here you go.
Can anyone name any of the songs from the musical version of The Importance of Being Earnest?
Was one of the Ernest movies actually called The Importance of Being Earnest?
No, but there was
Ernest Worrell.
Yeah, P. Worrell. Vanessa Manillo.
There was
Yep.
There was a Broadway musical
face
version
taken off
of The Importance of Being Earnest entitled Earnest in Love, featuring such hits as A Handbag is Not a Proper Mother.
Can you hum a few bars for us?
A handbag is not a proper mother.
Excellent. Rob just left, so suddenly it's like, oh, it's quiet in here. All right. I actually have notes, and these are actually the right notes. It was just dark. I'll give a little quick backstory to this while I have a second. So even before the first movie came out, they already agreed to a sequel to the tune of a $200 million budget, and they hired Sam Raimi, even before the result of the first movie, because they pretty much felt like they had a hit. The original screenplay for this movie was going to be jam-packed with villains. Along with Doc Ock, we were also going to have the Lizard, and Black Cat was actually in the original version of the screenplay.
I do love Felicia Hardy.
And that got a rewrite from Michael Chambon, the writer.
The one who did The Amazing Adventures of
Cavalier and Clay. Correct. He wrote a screenplay, but in his version, Doc Ock was closer to Peter Parker's age, and he had an infatuation with Mary Jane. The producer...
Well, we all know Doc Ock is into Aunt May.
He is. He
married her.
Did he not marry her?
Yeah.
She said he was good with his hands.
Anyway, his version basically got shot down by Avi Arad, the producer of the Spider-Man movie.
Oh God, Chris Hadfield.
What, you mean Hal Sparks?
Is that who that is? I don't know. Isn't it? Who is that?
That's Hal Sparks.
He's verklempt.
They all look like fucking the same.
Wait, who's Chris Hatfield?
Isn't he the one who
Isn't he a musician?
Nerdist?
No, that's Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, Chris Hatfield's a musician, isn't he?
James Hetfield is the guitarist for Metallica.
This is Hal Sparks. He used to host The Soup back in the day. And apparently is a big comic book fan, and probably best known for his role on the TV show Queer as Folk. Where he played...
So, okay, let's just talk about this scene right here.
Okay.
Would you see this in a DC comic superhero movie?
No.
Not currently.
There's this moment that, it's played for laughs, but at the same time, it actually feels real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
there's going to be a moment where this sort of thing happens.
Only if it was Superman and like a hot chick. and it felt forced. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of thing that they would do.
Right. Or it would be a moment for romance instead of
meet cute of some sort,
or tawdry sexual chemistry.
Right.
So anyway, Sam Raimi sifted through the original screen.
But that right there. Sorry, that would be incorrect. But I just want to make a point. I just want to make a point. It's moments like that makes this movie stand out amongst all the other superhero movies.
All right.
And I think it's a model for what the Marvel movies do as well. Because I think they do take that time to have moments like that are funny but real.
They don't always go through. So I was watching Thor the other day. There's a scene where he's in the subway. Remember that? He's riding the subway, and they do that with the hot chick, and she leans up against him. She's like, oh, that feels completely forced and ridiculous, and it's almost the same thing, right?
Right, a little bit. But I don't think it's that forced. I think it actually is a funny
The God of Thunder in the subway?
I think it is a kind of a funny movie. A funny moment in the movie. Which I think overall is a movie that's kind of funnier than what you would expect a superhero movie.
Yeah.
But I don't want to think about a moment like that in Batman. Or I'm sorry, in the Christopher Nolan Batmans, or even in Man of Steel. Can you even think of anything like that?
Well, I mean, it's not Batman necessarily.
Okay. So
to me, Batman, the funny
I could see them putting it in a Shazam movie, which is one of the movies that DC is going to be putting out. However, based on what I've seen,
but that's like the idea that Batman exists in a completely humorless world with no human beings.
Parents died in front of him. Pearls.
Right. You know what the best depiction of Batman is Lego Movie Batman. And he's playing that fucking song of his. Parents died. Darkness. Rich. that to me is like, that's what people think Batman is. And I mean, he's still a human being.
Well, that's what Batman Year One has been distilled to.
Right.
Well, to me, that's what Bruce is for. Bruce is for the comedy. To me, for example, when Batman, when they're playing in the fountains, and they're like, "Sir, you can't do this," and he's like, "Well, I just bought this." That's Batman's humor to me. Bruce, I mean, the actual Batman character is not funny.
But the problem is that he doesn't come off as funny. He comes off as pompous.
Yes, that's not funny.
Douchebag.
That's not funny.
Yeah, Tony Stark can be funny while still being a douchebag at the same time. he knows how to do that. He knows how to run that line. You know?
Well, because Tony Stark is Tony Stark.
Right.
Bruce Wayne really is Batman.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not funny though. Those scenes I didn't find funny. I saw them as like him really trying really hard to fake being Bruce Wayne.
I see. Because Tony Stark you could do that same exact scene with Tony Stark, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, I just bought this hotel.
Right.
And it would come off way more charming.
Right.
Yeah.
He figured out a way to be charming about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But okay, so you're saying Batman doesn't have this humor. It wouldn't fit.
That's the
what
character.
about Superman?
Superman's it's same thing. It's not quite humor. His humor is more about him being a fool.
His humor is more of a fish out of water type
Yeah.
thing. Where
Which they completely decided to take out of the equation in the Man of Steel. Right. He's a cool dude through and through, and there's not even
He's not a cool dude. He gets his ass kicked as a kid, and then he's an outcast throughout his whole life. What's wrong with that?
He's a fucking loner who goes off fucking,
He's an alien.
Whatever that fucking show on Discovery Channel with the
Deadliest
fucking
Catch?
fish.
And the
Deadliest
oil
Catch.
rigs. What's wrong with that? I don't get what's wrong with that.
Because that's not Superman.
He's an
That's not
alien.
Clark Kent.
He's an alien. So why is that incorrect? I don't understand why it's not.
I'm not saying it's incorrect, because you can interpret it however you like it to. But at the same time, you're taking away something from the character that is endearing. That makes that character what he is. If you want to do something like that, you can do that and not call it Superman. You don't have to call it Superman. You can call it Alien from Planet X on Earth.
That's catchy. But I would say that this is how he becomes Superman, right? There's got to be some sort of growing pain, or was he always a goofy, lovable kid?
I think when he comes over to Metropolis, he's a goofy, lovable
Right,
kid.
so this is mainly the time before that, right?
I don't know, he shows up to Metropolis as Clark Kent, and he seems pretty cool right off his bike.
And that's barely any part of the movie, right? How much of that movie was that? I mean, the guy went through some pretty traumatic. His planet blew up, for one.
He doesn't know anything about that.
His dad's Russell Crowe. Okay, so what is that going to do to him?
He doesn't know anything about that until after his dad foolishly runs into a tornado to save a dog.
Not that dad.
No, bro. You stay right there. I know you can save me, but you know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson.
You didn't like that?
I thought it was fucking stupid.
Wow.
It's dumb. Like, why?
So that he didn't reveal himself.
Save him!
I like that this contraption that Dr. Octopus has constructed looks like something out of a G.I. Joe cartoon. Like, Cobra would be using this to take over the world.
That's perfect, man. This is superhero stuff right here. Love it.
that's actually not true. No, what you said's fine. The tritium, which he's using, he said there's only 25 pounds left on Earth. Tritium's actually a real element. It's a radioactive isotope of hydrogen, and there is currently 165 pounds of it known on Earth.
So are you telling me this movie did not have its back straight?
I'm telling you
It's
that
been made.
Maybe at the time there was only that much available.
there was a tritium boom then.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is like over a decade old.
I was actually surprised to
lot
find out it was a legit element.
A lot of .com millionaires had to sell their tritium inventory.
Right, we're not talking about adamantium or vibranium. We're talking about...
And so he's wearing goggles. People are about 10 feet away. No goggles.
Well,
You're all
a mini
blinded.
sun explodes.
Well, who hasn't
right
looked
front
in
of
the
them.
sun?
Is that Jin from
Lost.
Probably.
Daniel Day Kim?
Yes.
Oh.
And you're all dosed with lethal radiation. Good night, everybody. I mean, literally, look how close they are.
What about this doesn't scream Cobra Mass device?
Oh, man. Hubris.
Icarus,
That's
flying too close to the sun.
what undoes him. Is the hubris.
How come nobody's belt buckles ever goes towards magnets? You ever notice that?
Zippers.
Yeah. Fillings? What if all their teeth just started
Braces.
ripping out of their mouths?
Oh, jewelry. Oh, clipboards.
Whoa.
It's still
Whatever
good.
you
It's
say,
still good.
Judge Doom.
Coward.
Oh no. Maybe they shouldn't have done this in the metal room.
Maybe they should have invited everybody.
Cool.
Whoa.
It's still good. It's still good.
What about this says you have this under control?
Alright.
I will take 1,000,000 James Francos over one Dane DeHaan.
I'm with you on that, man.
Dane DeHaan was so painful to watch in the Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, he was great in a movie like...
Oh, move! Serpentine! Oh!
Serpentine, son.
Oh,
Serpentine.
she got glass right to the eyeball.
Rough.
She was a sharp lady.
Oh, no!
Yeah!
Man.
Yeah, what's the name of that movie that he was in? The Haim. Where he played like it was a Kira ripoff.
The Haim? Like Corey Haim? What?
The Haim.
Where the kids had powers?
Yeah.
Chronicles.
Hey!
That was good. I like that movie, actually.
Yeah, the movie's good. He's good in that.
Is Corey Haim the one that died?
Yes, he's the dead one.
You know, it's funny. It's funny because...
That's funny.
Oh, he laughs so he doesn't cry.
I'm going to bring it back to this movie because... For me, because of these movies, whenever I read the voice of J. Jonah Jameson, I read it in the voice of J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Someone put together a Twitter account for J. Jonah Jameson, and he would post things like, I just found out that my favorite actor, Corey Haim, just died. Somehow I know Spider-Man is involved.
No, J.K. Simmons is one of the just a really perfectly cast.
Yeah, you couldn't imagine anyone else in that role at this point. When I first heard he was cast, even before seeing the movie, I thought, well, that's perfect. I could totally see that. So, I was excited. And rightfully so.
Here we go. This is the scene.
Here's
man.
Rob's favorite scene.
This is the scene.
This is the most rainiest scene.
Because we're going to be quiet. We're going to be quiet. We're just going to watch it.
Should I go get the snacks?
Yeah, go for it. This is the point of the podcast where you probably like cut out and just like overlap this voice, the sound.
Is that Bryan Cranston?
He's not yelling, so no.
He never had a chance to yell.
Notice absolutely no music in this sequence.
You know what I like too is it's sheer terror and there's a lot of violence, but it's not too graphic. Where, you know what I mean? There's not actually people getting ripped, but it totally implies it, and you get that feeling.
They really maximize the visual effects that you can get without showing them.
Yeah.
You zoom in on the chainsaw. It's so great. Oh man.
Love letter to Bruce Campbell.
Is the director allowed to do this now?
Well, you know, I think that's the thing that Marvel has been successful in doing with its current wave of movies is that they'll give directors a certain measure of autonomy to have their own visual styles and twists on things.
Right, Iron Man 3 is very much a Shane Black movie.
In the same way that Guardians of the Galaxy is a James Gunn movie. That was the greatest Troma movie I ever saw in my life.
So what is this? What kind of snacks are these? Milk and cake?
Go ahead, Jeff. Talk about what you're giving us. I gotta give. Okay, he'll be a moment here.
How was this adaptation of Dr. Octopus for you, the character? Was it good enough for you?
I think in terms of like cinematically speaking, I think it works.
I always imagined Dr. Octopus having an accent for some reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He had like a really, really deep voice in the cartoon.
I can't even remember.
Right, and he definitely had like a German accent or some sort of accent like that.
As most evil scientists are.
And maybe it was just because if you had the word doctor in your name, you automatically had to be some sort of evil immigrant.
Well, his first name was Otto, right? So
Yeah.
Octavius.
he wasn't from Brooklyn.
Yeah. And also, it's sort of like of the time, it's emblematic of sort of like how superhero movies were back then, where you had to kill the supervillain at the end.
Yeah, but I do like how he was a sympathetic villain, right? Because in the end, they kind of give him an out. It wasn't all his fault.
Right.
There were extenuating circumstances.
Yeah. Those fucking machines. The guy in his head.
Yeah. He had to listen to him.
Yeah.
Otto Octavius. German Greek?
I could buy it.
All right, what we got here, Jeff?
I have given us chocolate cake and milk. Do you know why?
I know why, but do these guys know why?
Why?
No. Keep watching. Milk.
Okay.
Later in the movie.
Oh, the girl gives it to Spidey, right? To Peter. Which the one person who needed chocolate cake was her, because that girl was bald
We might
skin.
need
She's a little
forks.
skinny.
Oh, forks, yeah.
I'll go provide the forks.
Thanks.
Didn't she
Rob.
forget him too in the movie? Didn't she forget him, right?
Perfect.
Which just reminds me of the scene in Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, where Rob Schneider as Deuce brings some sort of like a muffin to his father, who is a lavatory attendant. To which his father says, "Raspberry babinka, my favorite," and then jabs all 3 fingers into the middle of it as though he was violating it.
Thank you.
I was assuming that was how you wanted us to eat.
No,
Since I know Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo will not be on your top 500 movies.
no, I actually kind of loathe that movie. And it came out in my favorite year of films, 1999. And this is back when I was giving movies letter grades. And I thought I would get through the whole year without giving a single movie an F. And then I saw Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. And it got the F. I hate that movie so much. I prefer The Animal over Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, afraid so.
No, that movie was terrible.
Afraid so. Alright. So talking while eating cake may not be the best idea on earth. Alright, so back to what I was saying like 10 minutes ago.
Before he gets back.
Yeah, so Sam Raimi decided ultimately... Where's my notes? Eventually, Sam Raimi sifted through the original screenplay and concluded that the film had to explore Peter's conflict with his personal wants in lieu of his responsibility. Partly influenced by Superman 2, which also explored the hero giving up to pursue normalcy. The story... Yes, in a sense. The story is essentially lifted from Amazing Spider-Man number 50, which actually...
See the little nod to...
the panel...
$6 million man right there?
Oh, I didn't.
We can rebuild. We have the technology.
So let's go back and talk about that birth of Dr. Octopus scene a little bit more.
Okay.
When you first saw that scene in the theater, what was your reaction to it?
Oh, I loved it, and I got it was Raimi, but then it really got Raimi with the chainsaw popping up in the hand. I mean, that
Oh,
to
and
me
the...
really,
Yeah, when it
really said to me,
the
yeah,
rapid
this is
close-up
what
on
you
it.
think it is. You know, that's what that said to me.
Right, and the choice of keeping no music.
Yeah.
And it's a complete like a moment in the movie where Sam Raimi just felt like he got to get away with something.
Yeah, he'd probably been planning that scene or thinking of that scene a good amount of time, right? Doesn't it feel like there was a lot of love given to that sequence?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Jeff,
Yeah.
how did you feel about that scene when you first saw it?
I thought it felt like it 100% Raimi. So, and in that moment where I realized, Raimi, I guess I always assume Raimi has style.
So when let's say the audience when we say Raimi, they're like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
It means it's
Throw some names out. Throw some movie titles. out.
Actually,
Evil Dead 2.
This is very Raimi
Army of
too,
Darkness.
right? He loves people getting
Dark
rejected
Man.
by bank loans.
I know, right? like in Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
How about you?
I just liked that
No.
Whoa.
there are moments where you just get so
That could have been a
lost
short movie.
in what you're seeing. Honestly, I wasn't even thinking so much about what it looked like at that point, other than it looked believable as a birth of Dr. Octopus for me.
It was terrifying. It was fun. It was all those things roll up into one.
Even the scene that we
You mean
just
for that to
saw
rhyme?
where Dr. Octopus kind of embraces what he is, and at the end he just has this triumphant moment where his hands are raised and then the arms are raised behind him. It just looked like such a comic book moment.
Right.
I mean, seeing this now, is this the Blu-ray version or is this...
Yeah, right.
Seeing the Blu-ray, like some of the CGI, especially on Spider-Man himself, is a little more apparent than it was on the screen. Everything looked seamless. When
But the
I saw
action,
this in the
the
theater.
action holds up well, though, right? Like,
Yeah,
the way-
absolutely. Like, it's not cheesy. It's
Yeah.
not overdone.
That's a
Hey, look, it's
Joel McHale. I just realized.
another host of the soup. So all we need is some Aisha Tyler and some John Henson, and we're set. And some Ray Kadir. Fun fact: this bank was also robbed in another movie. That movie was Police Academy 6: City Under Siege.
Ooh.
You're welcome.
Gutenberg.
It was it was the last theatrical release of it. They went to Moscow in the next one.
About the only thing that the Raimi Spider-Man movies lacked was the sense of humor. The sense of humor of Spider-Man.
What? Oh, like his quips?
The quips?
Yeah, his
The
wife.
first one had more quips definitely than this one, that's for sure.
But he's like a non-stop. Like, that's one thing the new Spider-Mans have, right? Is he just won't shut his damn mouth.
Here's the thing. Amazing Spider-Man, he's just an asshole. He's not funny, he's just an asshole.
Spider-Man, wasn't he a bit of a jerk? Like, if you were the villain
He
fighting
wasn't
him,
an asshole, though. I never thought he was an asshole.
how was he an asshole?
I feel like he's an asshole.
Well, he's fighting somebody who's trying to kill people.
Nope. Nope, I'm not with you on that one.
Well
Sorry.
said. Well
I'm
said.
He's not witty. He's just being a douche.
If anything, this moment right here where Dr. Octopus is actually quipping more than Spider-Man is, maybe that was a break from character, but I'll allow it.
Stanley
Stan Lee-
cameo.
Remember when Stan Lee cameos were just sort of like that?
Yeah.
Instead of these like really grandstanding moments in movies that they are now.
He was actually
Hey everybody, look at me! I'm Stan
I
Lee.
made this!
Hey!
I made all this!
still alive.
They're like, don't worry about that Steve Ditko or Jack Kirby guy. You don't have to worry about him.
They're dead.
They're gone. It's all me.
True believer. That was a cute scene.
Look at the upper body strength on
At
her.
least she's not praying the Lord's Prayer while she's dangling off this building.
This is great. You feel like she's in peril, but she's not really.
Oh.
It's like, you know, there's like something so fucking like wholesome
Yeah.
about it.
It's okay, guys. She ain't go. It's all me, guys. She ain't gonna die. It's alright.
Yeah.
It's kind of... You saw Kingsman, right?
Yes.
The scene where they ask him to shoot the dog,
Yeah.
and you're wondering what's going to happen. That scene, you thought someone was going to shoot the dog.
Yeah, someone's gonna shoot some dog.
There wasn't that in this. There was, there was terror and, oh, this is whimsy.
Oh, like, this is great. This is fucking great. Alan May takes care of Dr. Octopus.
In fact, thinking of the movie,
Man,
does
I fucking
Peter
love this movie.
does Peter ever beat him?
I think at the very end, baby.
Who saves the day? Doc Ock.
Right.
Technically. My question is, what was...
Spoiler alert.
Hey, chicks.
Is that Aisha Tyler?
It's not. Like,
Is that her bare
you get some
midriff?
cheesecake in this movie. You get some cheesecake here and there.
Half a second.
You just got a couple bucks.
What use was the spear in the octopus arms when he was a biomanaged scientist?
Like RoboCop's spear.
Right. It's a
Oh, the
data
key?
spike. It's a data spike.
Bullshit.
You mean that wasn't just a middle finger?
Alright.
Take me.
That's some rich ass cake.
All those young girls are jealous that the old lady got a ride with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Man, this movie's fucking good.
And visually, it really
God
holds
damn, I
up.
want to throw this cake like against the TV. I fucking love this movie so much.
What the hell? That tofu?
Oh, Peter.
Oh, man!
When will you ever win?
Wah, wah.
So perfect.
Actually, the best one's when he finally picks something up as the empty drink. I'm getting ahead of
After he
myself.
gets the drink poured on his head.
Go.
His face. Oh, man.
Oh man, somebody's not happy.
James Franco.
Brooding. At this point, no one realized James Franco was actually a pretty funny guy. Based on you see him in these and dramatic films, and now seems like he's in.
I think the nice thing about these movies is when actors get paid, they can kind of take whatever projects they want.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's talk that
Wow, it's quite the
I
swig.
have a drinking problem.
there's talk that with the fourth Spider-Man movie that the actors all asked for way more money than they thought the studio was going to give them because they didn't want to do.
And they still did it?
Well, no, they didn't do the fourth movie. They fired.
Not the third, the
Raimi
fourth.
and recast it as a reboot. So there was talk of that. That's the reason why they did it.
Wasn't the Vulture supposed to be in the fourth one?
Yeah,
and I think they were underwhelmed by that too. And
Yes, because if there's anything that young audiences are clamoring for, it's an old man with vulture wings.
but it's Ben Kingsley. That would have been awesome.
No, Malkovich.
Oh, was it Malkovich?
Malkovich.
That's still awesome.
See, I always imagined, like, someone more crotchety. Like,
Walter Matthau?
no, someone closer to... Well, I mean, I know he's dead, but someone who... like one of those character actors that you'd see in a lot of, like, British shows that would be, like, 104 years old
yeah.
and just look like he was at death's door. That's who I see playing the Vulture.
Who plays Emperor Palpatine? You can dig him
Yeah,
out.
that would be amazing.
He's still with us.
I think so.
Yep.
I don't think he can die.
I think the problem with Kirsten Dunst as the series went on is that her dialogue just got way too dreamy. Like, just everything seemed like it was like,
Oh, she's downright.
gee, Pete.
She's downright unlikable in the third movie, in my opinion.
Still haven't seen the third one.
Really?
Yeah. People just told me how bad it was.
You
And I
shouldn't-
saw the scene with the spider jazz, and
You shouldn't listen to people.
Listen to yourself.
First off, the spatter jazz scene, the Saturday Night Fever Peter, is fucking great. That's
Saturday
perfect.
Night Fever Peter.
Yeah.
Is that STD?
Saturday Night Fever Peter is exactly how you would imagine a nerd what he would think is cool. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I don't know if it's perfect.
It is.
it's the equivalent of when Greg Brady or was it Greg or Peter who becomes Johnny Bravo to
I'll never win, Peter. Never win.
he's like Charlie Brown with hair and a physique.
Good grief.
What, sax? You don't
Was
like
that John Henson playing the piano?
Here we go. Here we go.
So now we just have to find Kinnear.
Here comes the drink in the face.
No, it's a slap in the face. 2 times. Or maybe it's a drink too.
MJ's with
Damn.
somebody else. Why is he still...
Yeah, she's with an astronaut. You can't compete, dude.
You're just a billionaire.
Slap.
Oh man.
Again.
Like he wouldn't have let that one happen. You know what I mean? Like,
The first one maybe I let
yeah.
go.
The second one, he would call his hand. Yeah, yeah.
Bro.
Bro.
You would think the Spidey sense would have kicked in on that one.
I guess that's the other thing.
That's what you should have said. My Spidey sense didn't kick in because you hit like a bitch.
So did she essentially agree to marry him just to spite Peter Parker?
I love it that he gets slapped in the face twice, and immediately after that, like, hey buddy, I'm marrying Mary Jane.
And of course,
Perfect.
J. Jon's like, take pictures of them kissing.
Yeah.
Well, that's his son, right? John
Yes.
Jameson, who of course becomes in
Man
the comics Man-Wolf. The single greatest moment of Captain America in the late 80s, early 90s.
And in the cartoons, he brings back the symbiote, the black symbiote.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's all kinds of connections there.
What a day.
Man.
I love the thing about watching movies in Blu-ray, I notice, is that I'm able to catch more of what's going on in the background of shots than I ever paid attention to in the theaters.
Man, you'd be dead. You fall like that.
He heals super fast, and his bones are super dense, and it's his movie, so. It's really a story of impotence in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this the alley where it all began?
You know what theme I hate
Batman's
more
alley.
than the whole, like, should I continue being the superhero theme, is the being framed theme. Where somebody who looks like this character is committing crimes. I can't stand that.
That's Amazing Spider-Man number 1.
Oh, God. So annoying.
That's almost like a soap opera trope.
Yeah.
My evil twin is ruining my life.
Yeah.
Oh, his sight's going bad again.
I need pictures of Spider-Man wearing bifocals.
Is there somebody more in their own head than him? Like every other hero, I mean, they may have issues, but
Was that a Gryffindor banner in the
it's actually
background?
neurological.
Maybe.
But that's the thing. That's what makes Spider-Man great, right? That's what makes him identifiable with people. Younger folks.
Because we all have doubts about
Yeah, we
who we are.
all have doubts. We all wonder, like, what's the deal? What's the deal?
What's the deal?
Why is life against me?
What's the deal with webs?
Little scenes like
What is the American love?
little scenes in this, like Dr. Octopus using his mechanical arms to light a cigar for himself.
That's great.
It's great because you get to see moments of them just being people, using the fantastic tools that have been given to them
For everyday
for
stuff.
little.
We got a hippie doctor here. We got a hippie doctor. What's the deal with that? You wouldn't expect that in a superhero movie.
Which actually shows you. So Doc Ock gets, neurologically controlled by his mechanical arms. It took him all of a minute to get over it, right, and move on with his life. This guy's had his powers for about a year now, and he's still having trouble.
Right, because Doc Ock is crazy.
Well, he's also
just
a grown-ass
accepts it.
man.
Well,
He's not
not a little
an
bitch.
20-something or a teenager.
right, well,
He's an
Peter-
accomplished scientist.
He's an immigrant.
Peter
He's
just
moved
graduated
on.
from high school, so he's probably like 21.
Okay.
21, 20.
Sure.
And let's be honest, many of the early 20-somethings we know,
Yeah, they're all dumb shits.
they're largely
Dumb,
yeah.
Dumb shits. Dumb shits.
We learned that from a previous movie we watched here.
Friends.
We all know 21-year-olds who are all dumb shits. It's okay. You'll get there.
We know grown people who are also.
Yeah, there might be one in our midst right now. But,
I'm right here.
Here comes our
Right, the Uncle Ben scene.
Uncle Ben cameo.
The rice guy?
That's what I was thinking too.
Why was that not? I guess that'd be for the first movie.
How could you burn me?
Jesus. Are they in heaven?
This was actually Sam Raimi's treatment for a Defending Your Life sequel.
Nice. They're in the car, but they're in heaven.
Only he has a headrest.
Nice. Well, he's dead. He deserves that.
So is he standing outside the car? Is he standing through the windshield?
It's his dream. I don't know. Has to be said.
I feel like
But
this.
that's the thing, like in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, no one ever says it.
No?
I thought it was said in the first
No,
one.
nobody ever
It's
said
not
it.
about.
Great
Well,
power
in this, the power was thrust upon him, right? In the other movie, it was all planned out, right? He was a hero of happenstance in this movie, or in these Spider-Mans. In the other one, he had no choice. I mean, with his father being in the project and him being, part of it.
It's fucking destiny.
It's
which
destiny.
Is the fucking worst thing ever.
Exactly. He had no choice. This guy, he actually has choice.
Right.
Who was the actor who played Uncle Ben in these movies?
This guy?
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Exactly. this is the moment in Wayne's World 2 where Wayne turns to the camera and says, "Excuse me, can we get a better actor here?"
I thought he did fine.
And then they bring out Chuck Heston.
Martin Sheen isn't that much better. Spider-Man no more.
Don't do it.
It's perfect.
This is
comic
my
book
favorite comic cover of all time.
Yeah.
This is...
Except you would think he would put in the trash can a little bit deeper in.
Nope, don't care. He don't care.
Oh,
he don't care.
Hey, everybody!
Done.
Movie's
Sam
over.
Raimi was doing that shit before fucking Zack Snyder came around.
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. The one with the trash can isn't my favorite cover. It's the one where... I think Spider-Man's looking over his shoulder and Peter Parker is walking away from him into the foreground.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, this is fucking great. We got this music playing.
B.J. Thomas, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
He trips. Got those glasses on.
Andrew Garfield would never look this pathetic.
Alright.
Not even in The Social Network did he look this pathetic.
Wait, where has Tobey Maguire been hiding lately?
This is a Great Gatsby.
Oh yeah, he was in that. Unseen.
Didn't he buy the rights to one of the big anime franchises in the wake of this? Either Robotech or Voltron?
No, I don't remember him being involved in anything like that.
That is a tofu dog because Tobey Maguire is a vegetarian.
Yeah, go kill Uncle Ben again.
Oh, I'm just getting a hot dog.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
I do my homework.
Photonics, baby. Photonics.
That's all about the photonics. Oh man. He's in class. He's learning. Boom!
Peter Parker knows.
Santa.
Thanks.
Freeze frame right here. It's so fucking great.
I guess you could say that teacher is all right.
All right. So the movie ended like that.
To be continued in Spider-Man 3.
There's a lot of people who actually dislike this movie. I've learned going on IMDb.
People are dumb.
There are people who... It's funny, because there's actually a wars between the Raimi version and the new versions of people who prefer the new ones over the old ones, and
those people are dumb.
Those people are nicest.
New Coke.
Those people are dumb.
It's funny. It's hilarious because they're like drones of them who are giving the other movies one star out of 10
Which
reviews.
is just stupid, right?
So all the movies are collecting all these 1 stars. So none of them are in the 250 anymore because people keep on attacking each other's Spider-Man movies. It's cute.
Tobey Maguire apparently does have the rights to Robotech.
Robotech.
Hey,
Since 2007.
It's a great investment.
The project has major franchise potential on the scale of Transformers and has been in development at the studio, Warner Brothers, since 2007.
Jeez.
This was in 2013 that this was published.
Oh, man.
Okay. Were you guys much for Robotech?
Oh, I loved Robotech. That was my first anime series that I really sunk whole heart into.
All I remember about Robotech is that they turn into bikes.
That was in the third generation of Robotech.
Yeah, Rob.
No, that's fine. That's just as much Robotech as any other generation of Robotech.
Yeah. I mean, later on I discovered Macross, but I never knew what the bike one was being pulled from. From what I understand, Robotech is an amalgamation of multiple animes that
Exactly.
the American company put together and pretended it was the same thing.
So, why is Mary Jane marrying the astronaut? Is it...
Because he's never around. He was never there.
Is that
So wait, you're marrying the astronaut who's going into space?
I'm in space, yeah.
Because he's never
He's
there?
unavailable, yeah.
What kind of astronaut missions is this a-hole going on?
Well, apparently
He
the
played his first
around more than Peter Parker is.
And he was the first astronaut to play football on the moon, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. So,
Hey, that
At least you'll know where
You
he'll
know
be.
what? Let her have her man wolf.
Well, she can't have her Spider-Man. It's a little too late.
Have you guys read any of the recent Spider-Man comics?
No, not for a while.
They've had a big spider event. if
Or
you
all
will.
the Spider-Mans came out of the woodwork, right? I read about
Even
that.
the black one.
It's true.
The Miles Morales one, yeah.
One of the great moments of it is that all the Spider-Men are talking to each other, and one of them mentions, I just saw the guy from Seabiscuit, and the guy from Social Network, and they were... So I like that they pull on these movies to incorporate into the comic universe as well.
I also think that at the time, it was easier to identify with this Spider-Man and his relationship with Mary Jane because, you know, at the time that was sort of like my formidable age in terms of romance or whatever. So I can understand the sort of like back and forth between another person.
Just so you know,
I'm just saying, like the super cuteness of like the Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone.
Yeah.
You
weren't buying it.
I'm not buying it, but at the same time, maybe other people of that age do buy it. I don't know.
yeah.
Well, I mean, Gwen Stacy is huge now. People love Gwen. She was, she was the one who was too good to die. Mm-hmm. She was too perfect.
Right.
And I mean, how strange is that Mary Jane is settling for him?
Okay, this scene is the one thing that kind of bugs me, because even if you aren't Spider-Man...
Do something, right?
Do something!
Like, literally doesn't even say...
Call for help.
Doesn't even, like...
Just...
yell. Yeah, he walks away.
Just fucking New York, man.
What?
It happens all the time.
He might as well just start peeing on Ben's grave.
Well,
Or let somebody else do it and not stop him.
Can we get a sexier Aunt May in here? I like Aunt May that a stiff breeze could break her hip.
Did you see that Amy Schumer skit that came out a couple of weeks ago? Or a couple of days ago?
Last fuckable day.
Yeah, last fuckable day. Sally Field.
Or was Julia Louis... Oh, yeah.
Yes, they were
mentioned
talking about how Sally Field
Field
had her last fuckable day. She went from being Tom Hanks' romantic interest in one movie
to being his mom.
To being his mom
in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
for the record, all three of those women I would have still, to this day, fucked the shit out of. I'm sure they're very flattered to know that. Patricia Arquette, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Tina Fey.
The shit out of
Fuck the shit out of them. They appreciate them. They're still pretty.
Have you had them on the podcast yet?
I have not.
Well,
nor any of their movies have shown up yet. Well,
Baby Mama.
I don't know if Tina Fey was ever quote unquote fuckable.
what are you talking about? Tina Fey's a heck of attractive. She was cute, and even when she was being silly doing the strip thing in Date Night, I kind of found her strangely alluring.
There's nothing strange about it. She's an attractive woman.
She is a very attractive. Patricia Arquette is nice.
They're recasting me with Selena Gomez in Boyhood. I think that was my favorite line from her.
We can all agree that all three of them, all four of them really, are great actresses. Some are funnier than others, but they're all entertaining to watch. But of all four of them, I would say Julia Louis-Dreyfus is the one that I would kick out of bed.
And you would be foolish to do so. Because isn't she like older? She's older almost by 10 years than the other ones. It feels like
50, yeah.
She's
over 50.
And she's, there's aging gracefully, and then there's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who's just freaking not aging, period.
Does Peter do the right thing here and spill the beans?
Yeah, he tells the truth. Aunt May appreciates the truth, even though, she doesn't take it well initially.
When you said, does Peter do the right thing, I just imagined Tobey Maguire in a Spike Lee joint. Peter, the baby needs food!
We will get around to that movie eventually. It's a hard thing to do, to tell your beloved aunt that, you're responsible for her husband's death.
I did it.
Not really.
Well, indirectly. He could have stopped the robber. We all know the story. What's the play on the new one? It's like because the guy wouldn't, he couldn't afford the chocolate milk, wouldn't, take from the change jar. And then there's the well, fuck it, never mind. I don't care. It's all over some chocolate milk. It made it not happy.
Kiss my ass, Rita.
Did she slam the door? I want to hear the slam.
What if she died right there from the news?
Falls down the stairs.
There goes the other hip.
Yeah.
Falls out of the chair.
Meanwhile, here's a man on a mission. This whole time, while Peter's trying to find himself, Doc Ock is finishing the work he started from in the beginning of the movie.
Good
That's
going.
continuity.
That's why I like villains, because they're self-motivating a lot of times. Once you set them on a path, they just go. Right? He's not going to the doctor. He doesn't need reassurance. He's not confessing his crimes and his sins. He knows what he wants and he takes it.
But that's the thing. That's a Spider-Man thing. Spider-Man, it makes sense for him to be uncertain and to be unsure. That doesn't work with someone like Superman. Like, why would Superman be like that? In Man of Steel, he's like, I don't want to be Superman.
He didn't do that.
Superman,
He didn't do that in that movie, did he?
Yeah, Man of Steel, he was always denying his destiny.
No, except for the time when he pushed out and let his dad die right in front of him. For the most part,
Like, if there's ever a time for you to fucking just say, fuck it, I want to show my powers, that would be it.
And I would submit to you that after that, no matter what the cost, he still did it, right? Even when people were looking at him, he would still save the oil workers. He threw a guy's truck through a telephone pole.
Then the question becomes, what was the lesson he fucking learned from that? Fuck Dad, he was a moron, I should have saved him?
No, you have a responsibility to act. That's what he learned.
To be fair, who played his dad in the movie?
Kevin Costner.
I wouldn't have saved him.
Yeah, he's like, don't go. He's like, well, I'm not coming, actually, so don't worry, I'm not. But yeah, that's the lesson he learned. After his dad died, he's like, I'm not going to let this happen again.
So then essentially he said, fuck you, Dad.
No, he said, I've learned I can't just stand by idly.
No, because his dad's wish was, don't reveal yourself.
Right, and he didn't, but he had a responsibility.
But every chance he could, he gave a fuck you to Dad. He did a fuck you to Dad.
No, he said, I can't do that again.
Can we also point out that was the superior cocktail glass throwing scene between all three Spider-Man movies? Because you have the one where Willem Dafoe turns around from behind the chair and is like, "You're over here with your Spider-Man," and whips the drink. Doc Ock crushes it with a metal claw. Determination.
Finesse.
Were his arms adamantium?
No.
They never specify that.
I think in the later comic books, he upgraded to adamantium.
Laced with adamantium.
And vibranium.
Is putting adamantium arms on Otto Octavius like putting rims on a beater?
It's a good point, because at some point the body's kind of aging, isn't it?
I mean, could you just get vibranium in the...
Whoa, 75%? That's a lot. Peter Parker always running into burning buildings. I was starting to think that this would be a running theme. I was kind of disappointed there was not a burning building in the third one.
I like his choice of crime stuff, too. Mugging with two guys? Let that one go.
Not the Chens!
Yeah.
This is an innocent child in there, guys. It takes it ups it another level. Ups it another level.
Right. It's hot. No. Pretty good fire effects.
I really hope
he didn't run through
an old lady outfit.
You know what's funny is the other day I was actually thinking about this scene. I was trying to figure out if it was from the first one or the second one.
Oh yeah, it's so similar, huh?
I was like, what's that one where he saves a little Chinese girl? Was that in the first one or the second one?
Second one. I'll read this one. Ooh, backdraft. I learned that from seeing the movie Backdraft. Ooh!
Is that in the 500?
No, sir.
Ah.
No, sir. Sorry. Though it's one of those movies I've been meaning to revisit.
Who was in that?
Kurt Russell and a Baldwin. I think it's Stevens in that one.
One of the lesser Baldwins.
It's a Ron Howard movie.
So who's
Whatever that means.
Who's lower on the Baldwin tree of seniority? Daniel or Adam, even though he's not a proper Baldwin?
Oh, Adam.
Adam, yeah.
To me, they're both like on the same level.
No.
Terrible. The only Baldwin which worth talking about is Alec.
Steven.
He's got a good podcast.
So Stephen, William, and Daniel.
They're not.
What's the hierarchy there?
I'd say William before Stephen now, though Stephen I would say was number 2 at one point. At least
The
William...
little girl saves Parker.
No, she helps him.
She saves him.
Save shit.
Well, time to
This
make
little
another.
Chinese
Oh, you just
contestant-
assume this. They're the parents.
That's a good point. He hands it to them. They're like, well, this is not our child. We're just going to watch.
All right.
She looked more Filipino than Chinese, to be fair. Those were not her parents.
I like this. You fucked up, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
See, even when he wins, he loses.
That's how it is, man.
He can't catch a break.
Peter Parker can't catch a break. Spider-Man can't catch a break. That's all.
So the lesson is don't
try.
Don't try.
No, it means fucking don't half-ass that shit like you have been.
You know, those doors open, dude. We're not like, hanging out on the patio.
See, this is the dilemma of the libertarian. Are I supposed to be happy? Am I supposed to get what I want?
a lovely
And it gives way to the socialist.
Oh, boy. Shout out to the lowest common
Eastern
denominator.
European siren
Yeah.
seducing him over to the dark side.
Yeah, I've seen SEAL in San Francisco adjust themselves like you on the pier.
For those listening at home who can't enjoy the visual of this, Rob is flopped on his belly to watch the movie on the ottoman like he's talking on a princess phone to his best girlfriend.
We both know your back can't support that position. You're not going to be there for more than 20 minutes.
She wasn't supposed to be Black Cat, was she?
No. Switch Hardy came from a rich family.
Well, it's not like people haven't taken liberties in the past. So,
She had curves, too.
oh yeah.
How long are you holding that for? You're my mail.
She,
Thank you, Inga.
alright. Free cake, milk, day's looking up.
The note says, it's cancer. Oh.
So she forgives Peter Parker. With it, I'm living on the streets.
It looks like her building is made of like linoleum.
Hey,
It does, huh? Yeah.
that's all the rage back in the day. This movie was actually the second highest grossing movie of the year it was released, which was 2004. Anyone know what the first one was? It was also a sequel, second of a film, or second of a series.
Don't know.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, it was animated.
Toy Story?
Shrek 2.
Gross.
God. It was...
I don't think I've seen any of the Shreks beyond the first one.
Well, that's probably how you should keep it.
I've heard that Puss in Butts.
That I've seen.
Porno version. Pussies and butts.
Puss in Butts.
Puss in Butts, saw that.
Puss in Boots. Better than you would give it credit for. Antonio Banderas is an animated cat really
Unfortunately, I'll never give
connects
it a
with the
chance.
audience.
I thought it was funny.
Never give it a chance.
I heard it was alright.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Puss in
But
Butts.
Rob won't give it a chance.
Antonio Banderas stars in both, actually.
Puss and butts. And puss and boots.
Look at the joke nodding.
Man.
The comics are terrible.
Oh. Put the patents in the box, Mrs. Potter.
And that young man would grow up to be...
I thought you knew.
Henry Pym?
No.
But there's the Sam Raimi trademark car in the garage there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88. Appears in every single one of his movies.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why is it 88 if it's 71?
That's the name of the car. It's the car of the future back in the 70s.
Because there were 87 failures before the Delta 88.
Finally got it right.
Finally got it
Number
right.
88, we got it.
Titles that were considered for this movie, before they just settled with Spider-Man 2, was Spider-Man No More, Spider-Man 2 Lives, and Spider-Man Unmasked.
All of those are terrible.
Yes.
Clearly
Spider-Man No More is not bad.
That sounds really Raimi-ish.
Yeah. Those are the titles were garbage, though. But this was back in a time where studios weren't afraid of having numbers at the to differentiate the sequels, unlike now where there's no such thing as numbers at the end of movies.
Like Avengers 2.
Or Furious 8.
Well, I'm talking about like superhero movies.
Oh, gotcha.
Avengers is not called Avengers 2, man. It's called Avengers
Age of Ultron.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I believe.
Well, we'll see if it actually sticks with that title.
Do you know what other characters were considered for playing Doc Ock?
Who?
Actors? Let me tell you.
Robin Williams.
Harrison Ford.
Was Ron Williams? He's not on my list.
I don't know.
Here's
Rainn
Harrison.
Wilson.
No.
A Lesser Baldwin.
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito.
No DeVito.
Oh, that would be amazing, right?
I'm Dr. Ock! I throw octopus Now I'm gonna eat the trash.
All I can imagine is like, as Danny DeVito as the Penguin, as Doc Ock.
Like
You flush it, I flaunt it.
Actors considered were Robert De Niro,
Oh my god.
Sam Neill, which I could see, Ed Harris, David Duchovny, Liev Schreiber,
Whoa.
and Chris Cooper.
They got it right.
Yeah, I think all of them. Robert De Niro might have been the more interesting one, but
He has yet to.
I feel like he
It
would
seems
just,
like everyone's been in a superhero movie at this point, but De Niro seems to be a
I feel
holdout.
like De Niro would just be
De Niro as
would be
Doc
him
Ock?
as fearless leader in Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, that was terrible.
I liked it.
I did not like it.
so there you go.
It was-
Robert De Niro wasn't a comic movie.
No, that's a cartoon.
That was a cartoon movie.
Brah.
Hey,
Pretty good jump for
regular human, yes. Of course, he's still kind of Spider-Man because, of course,
He survives his punishment
Yeah.
here. Oh man,
Oh.
death. Dead. He'd be dead.
That's a little in joke because he nearly didn't make it into the sequel because he injured his back filming Seabiscuit,
Right. They had Jake Gyllenhaal,
Jake Gyllenhaal.
as a backup.
who was Kirsten Dunst's boyfriend at the time, so they would have probably had some decent chemistry. Oh,
That's weird, right? For them to replace
I
him.
think probably that was a blessing in disguise for Jake Gyllenhaal, honestly. Oh. Who can say she's not cute? She's cute. He's a piece.
He's such a dummy.
He's an astronaut. He's sucker smart. Look at him. Deep down he was hoping that the Man-Wolf was going to become a bigger character in the films.
Finally, I'm going to get my Man-Wolf franchise.
About time.
Put my head back? What?
I'll put my
How
head
do you
back.
do that? I don't know how to do that. Wait a minute.
Technically, Robert De Niro was in a comic book movie.
Which was?
Stardust.
Yeah, okay. I guess that counts, kinda. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's like his one major scene. He gets to make out with Kirsten Dunst. That's not bad for a payday.
Yeah.
He's back on the
Sexy
moon.
kiss too.
He's back on the moon.
Right now, guys. Excuse me.
Someone kiss me upside down, quick. It's the only way I can
Come
kiss.
on, guys. You guys didn't try the upside down kiss after Spider-Man? Nobody here?
Yes, but I made any loved one call me Spider-Ham. Peter Porker.
The Spider Ham. Nice.
Spider Pig.
I tried it. She laughed at me.
She's like, you stupid.
I thought it would have been cute, but of course it's better if I was upside down.
Oh, she's so bohemian in this one. Look, she has her head in a knit cap. Her head, not her hair.
We're totally now watching the movie.
This is my favorite action set pieces for this whole sequence here.
Coming up?
Yeah.
With all these delicious pastries in the background.
Exactly.
And New York City cabs.
Well, it's so good because it's so character based. You know, it's like rooted in the characters. You care about what's going on. You care about this moment. You know, you actually care about how this turns out. And then it's interrupted by an action sequence. It's almost like, oh man, I wanted to see how this thing turned out.
You kind of wish they did not ruin it in the trailer, because you wait for it when you see the movie.
Well, you know when you see the sequence coming up, like, oh, she's wearing that fucking knit hat in the trailer. Oh man, Doc Ock's coming.
Do you feel like this movie makes New York enough of a character in the movie?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. You got that sequence earlier with Doc Ock. You're going to get the sequence of the subway with the train pretty soon.
That's actually coming up here now.
I feel like it definitely does. Oh, you see those yellow cabs non-stop in the background. Like, fuck, how many cabs can there be?
There's another one.
It's just like, it never ends.
Was it this movie or the first movie that had the angry mob of New Yorkers like, hey!
You mess with Spidey, you mess with us!
That would be this one.
No, that's the first one. They're throwing shit at Green Goblin
Oh, that
on
one.
the bridge.
Well, there's the "you gotta get through me" scene in this movie.
Yeah, there's that. Yep, exactly. You feel like, oh my god, fucking New Yorkers are not that bad.
Where he gently like crowd surf him to the back of the.
Yes,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
Train.
Oh, gets. Oh.
There's a spider sense.
Oh.
The rare spider sense shows up.
Of course, a car through a. Oh boy.
Bullet time!
It was
Or
nice.
flying car time!
Spidey sense time.
Wait a second. So I don't think it was his intention to kill Peter Parker. That could have clearly done it, though.
Well, he knew that he was Spider-Man.
Does he know he's Spider-Man at
He
this
just thought
point?
it would draw him out, right?
He doesn't know.
Maybe he just wants fresh pastries. And a
Just-
brisket.
oh, two birds, one stone. Peter Parker's here.
Also, I like that Dr. Octopus is given the same leeway that professional wrestlers were in the 1980s and early 90s, and that they were a character of his magnitude was allowed to have a gut and be just hideous.
Right. No
I think he comes across like a 1930s bodybuilder.
He looks like Dino Bravo.
Oh,
like
The world's strongest man.
a Canadian strongman.
He's built like a lumberjack. He's got the thickness, but
He's got the Doc Ock sunglasses
nor
on.
definitely. God, here we go again.
I also enjoy that Raimi accomplished the goal of making CG look like stop motion.
Yeah.
It didn't look too slick. It didn't look like when they did that Beowulf movie and we just called it Shrek boobs.
Never saw that.
Meh.
Oh, sight's back.
I was really hoping there'd be like a Hollywood video right there.
Yeah, the first movie is kind of rife with, like, product placements. This one surprisingly has very little. Which they would bring back in the third one.
Sam Raimi will not be bought in this movie.
I think it's like the studios let them make this movie so they can have their way.
It's kind of interesting because you didn't think about it. A lot of these big franchise superhero movies, the directors get their chance to make the movie they want with the second film. Mm-hmm. Even in the very first one, you would say that... I guess you could say the Superman movie from the 70s was that, but Richard Donner didn't get to do his movie. They fucking fired him. But in the 90s, with Batman, Tim Burton got to make his Batman movie with Batman Returns. Mm-hmm. And that movie wasn't successful, nearly as successful as the first one. And it was fucking dark as... And it was a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
And then with X-Men, Bryan Singer got to make the movie he wanted with X2. With Raimi and Spider-Man, he got to do Spider-Man 2. And it was completely his movie.
Dark Knight.
And yeah, you'd say that Dark Knight is like pretty much the Christopher Nolan Batman. Like he didn't really want to do a third movie. He just kind of was like, "You let me do like Inception, right? Okay, I'll do Dark Knight." Right.
Right, so we essentially should be very excited about the second Avengers film.
I think the bar was set by the first one low enough that they can make it more dynamic. I think Ultron's a better villain than the Chitauri were in the first one.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Well, what's
Loki's
fun. I don't
but...
think the Marvel movies function the same way as the old Hollywood superhero movies. It's like they're all sequels to each other.
Was the Silver Surfer Fantastic Four better than the first Fantastic Four?
Never saw any of them.
That's not Marvel. It's a Fox movie.
Wee woo.
Right in the nipples.
What I don't understand is Doc Ock has been taking punches from Spider-Man in the comic book. That should have been enough to knock his ass out.
Spidey was holding back. He wasn't super powered yet.
Are New Yorkers still born with New York accents?
Yeah. They pass them on from generation to generation.
Well, I mean, like, that's one of the things they've said is that, those regional accents, especially, like, in television, are going away. So, like, you won't see someone from Texas really talking like this on the news anymore. Because they don't want to come across as an uneducated hillbilly. Right. They want to be polished and have, that sophisticated air of middle of the road blandness.
In a comic movie, it's okay. It's okay to have this kind of accents.
Like, I dated a girl when I was in college who was from Long Island, and...
Did she?
And she had the accent, and her mom had the accent. And even though her stepdad lived in Calabasas, he had the accent. I just worry we're losing our accents.
We're all becoming the same.
A melting pot of a singular accent?
I think the one place where it's safe that we won't lose our accent...
Minnesota?
Minnesota and, like, the middle of the country.
What about Baltimore?
Balmer?
And see, look at this. Spider-Man is actually saving people. Not like Superman and Man of Steel, where he's, like, fucking annihilating buildings. Where people actually...
Well, maybe if he had super sense, he could multitask.
Superman, like, I guess he just doesn't know. He's got to save people.
Look, alright, he did the best he could of what he could, man.
I don't know. I don't remember any moment where he saved somebody except for that one military guy from the helicopter. That's about it.
When he was coming up, before he was actually Superman, he was saving people left and right.
When did Doc Ock find time to button his shirt?
He's got a bunch of hands. He has plenty of time.
That's right. Mowdy. Nope. It's time to take the mask off. The mask came off a lot more in the third one, didn't it?
Yeah, Tobey Maguire's like, I want my face to be...
P.S. Why does New York have a subway line or a L train line that ends, just dead ends in the middle of an intersection?
Well,
I think they passed the station. Right?
has to stop. Yeah, they do. They watch because you'll actually see them pass it.
Ouch.
Well, that don't work.
Rickets! My undoing!
What a joke.
There goes the station.
Yep, there you go. This is actually filmed in Chicago because
So that's why it's above ground.
Yeah, New York actually doesn't even have above ground trains anymore.
Well, I mean, Denzel would have stopped it anyway if it was Pelham, whatever
Oh, yeah.
it was.
We're Walter Matthau if we're talking about the original. Which I saw recently. It was actually really good. Yeah. Alright. We get to see Tobey Maguire's derp face, which is always fun.
Like he's pooping.
Derp face!
Oh, he's so muscly. Thanks, Captain. Captain No Help at all.
Captain Obvious.
Whoa. How about we run to the back?
Yeah, no, go backwards! Distribute the weight, people. Amazing.
Spectacular.
Web of.
Ultimate.
Here comes his Christ moment.
This really is like probably the last best scene in the movie.
Wait a second, no, because Mary Jane has a wet shirt that shows up later. That was another ongoing theme I was looking forward to the third one that did not happen. Oh, Kirsten Dunst in a wet shirt.
She's like, no, not this time, Sam. Not this time.
You know what would have happened if this happened in 2015? Someone would have ruined this moment with camera phones. Oh, bro,
Take a picture of his face.
Spider-Man, bro.
Wait, camera phones weren't a thing even back then? Or they were infancy, probably, at this point? Just kidding. He might be his son. Oh.
Hashtag, this is why we can't have nice things.
Ain't gonna know who he is.
With as internet savvy as Peter Parker is, you don't think he'd have a Facebook or a Twitter?
What the fuck is Facebook? I don't even think I know what Facebook is back then.
Maybe he would have had a Friendster account.
Yeah, MySpace for show.
MySpace for sure.
They're all lying.
Right.
Everybody's going to tell everybody.
Do you think he was on Hot or Not?
Did you ever go on Hot or Not? I mean, not like put a picture in, but you ever
Yeah, I remember reading. I liked reading the mean reviews on it.
People suck.
all sorts of New Yorkers. They're all good people.
I mean, look how good that costume is too, man.
Doc Ock?
How come they can't figure out shit like this for like Daredevil?
Hey, it's Big Pussy. I like it. He's being brave, but you can tell he's scared shitless.
Have you guys seen Daredevil's costume?
Not yet, no.
I've seen a still of it, yeah.
Does it look bad?
It looks bad. Might as well put Ben Affleck in it.
Oh, no, come on.
Yeah, it's just not good looking, man. It's like, look at this.
You love how Rob's so dismissive.
How do they figure it out?
Well, I mean, from a design perspective, it's a lot easier to pull off a skin tight costume that's just framing a shape generally, as opposed to making like his leather devil horn mask.
Flash looks pretty good though.
It does.
Yeah, but the thing is like he didn't have a leather mask in the comic books. It
That was
just
one hell of a combination.
mask that
Just
had horns on
two.
it. I just think like it's over designed now. Costumes are over designed.
Yeah.
Like I hope that when Marvel takes over Spider-Man, they don't over design.
Wait a second.
That costume.
He's not a ninja. He's fucking Doc Ock. He makes a lot of noise when he makes an entrance. Maker's Mark. Oh, there is product placement right there.
Let's go whiskey.
Is it?
I like it.
He looks so comfortable.
Someone's writing Spider-Man / fiction here. And then Harry pulled it out, hoping to penetrate Spider-Man.
Peter / Harry.
So Shakespearean.
It too brute.
Very Macbeth.
No.
Where is she? Where is he keeping her? He's got MJ. All I wanted was the trio.
Tritium.
He's making the machine again. When that happens,
Silence right now, guys.
New York.
It's a really
know.
tense
This
moment.
is serious.
I mean, a friendship.
I like
is
half of New
being
York
torn
will die
asunder.
and Mary Jane.
He's having his Inigo Montoya moment.
There are bigger things happening here. Please, I've got
Yeah, stop being such a narcissist. Get over it.
Yeah, your dad's
Killed
dead.
your
Boo
pops.
hoo.
Deal.
I mean, isn't that where Harry says, "Hey, pot, kettle," over here? Didn't need to go out on a superhero crusade to get all the sexy redheads of New York and kill my father in the process.
Nobody can stop me now that Spider-Man's dead.
So
All
why is
because
he
your
keeping
uncle
her?
got offed because of something that was entirely your fault.
I haven't seen Kirsten Dunst lately.
She was in.
Where is she about
That
the Dragon
Lars
Ball
von
Z
Trier
franchise?
Huh?
She brought the Dragon Ball Z franchise, I heard.
She's looking off of that.
She's gonna be Boma.
What's the asparagus head guy?
Oh, yeah, Piccolo?
Vegeta.
Vegeta.
Wait. No, I think you're thinking Piccolo.
Yeah,
Wait,
the green guy was Piccolo.
Vegeta was the bad guy with the
It's a shorter one, yeah.
blue and had the hairline. Whee! Quite the toss.
There's a lot of complaints these days with superhero movies that there's no theme.
What do you mean?
Like, the superheroes don't have like a theme.
Like a theme song?
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst is now on the TV series version of Fargo.
Oh, Fargo.
nice.
She's in Fargo? Does she play, the cop? She plays, does she play Marge?
Twist. She also was in Anchorman 2.
I actually missed that.
Oh.
Melancholia was the one that she got some critical acclaim
Lars
for.
von Trier. She got nice and naked in that one.
I saw that she was in some movie called The Bachelorette Party.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I had strange hopes for that movie, which apparently...
Rebel Wilson and
At least you know she tried.
Isla Fisher,
Data Spike.
Lizzie Kaplan.
Data Spike.
Data Spike. Oh no.
I mean, this was a total 80s undoing, right? That
The
over-exaggerated electrocution scene
Yeah.
that you saw in, like, Howard the Duck.
And then Little Shop of Horrors and...
It's good. It makes sense.
Why mess with the classics?
Electricity
If
sucks
it
for
works,
everybody.
it works.
You ever been shocked? It's no fun. Oh. Magnets.
We also that guy got tasered off that horse. No one likes it. He got kicked in the jimmy. And then fucking had his head bashed in by like 5-7 cops.
Wait.
Have you not seen that video?
Oh, I thought this was a movie.
Some guy like tried to steal a horse, and the fucking cops tasered him off the horse, and then they beat him senseless.
Oh.
It's awfully grimdark.
It's fucking real life, man.
Did Superman save him?
No.
Nope. Let him die.
I think this was one of the moments that really worked for me in this movie, that villains aren't just so black and white and punchable as some movies and series make it seem to be. That
There's a you know, kind of
There's a humanity. Dr. Freeze had a humanity.
My issue is that I feel like sometimes I try to encourage you rooting for the bad guy too much.
Oh, that's.
But I don't think you're rooting for Dr. Octopus.
Definitely
here.
not. What you're rooting for is his redemption.
You're hoping that he has enough humanity left.
Right.
in
You're
him.
hoping that he redeems himself here.
I
But I
think
think in a lot of more modern stuff, you look like something like Breaking Bad. People actually root for fucking Walter White. Fucking Walter White is a goddamn supervillain. He's not to be rooted for. He's to be like, God damn, that guy's an asshole.
Walter White's the coolest.
No, I mean, yeah, people don't seem to realize that. He's a fucking bad guy.
The only bad person in that whole show was Skylar.
Oh my God.
That's right. Isn't that the one person universally hated throughout that show?
Yes, but for wrong reasons. People hate her. I don't know why. What was she supposed to do? If she reported him to cops, people would hate her too.
I like that there are moments that Dr. Octopus's tentacles look like sandworms.
Nice.
Or those things from Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Those are sandworms.
Those
too.
are sandworms. You know, he named his tentacles. Would you like
Really?
to know what their names were?
Yes.
Curly Mo,
Shemp,
Lefty.
Curly Joe.
Larry.
Rob's
Jeff,
Rob's
you
the
know.
closest.
Octopus.
Larry, Harry, Mo, and Flo.
There you go.
Good going, Robbie.
Half of them were Three Stooges.
The tentacles sounds were a mixture of motorcycle chains and piano wires.
Oh, this happens to be like whipped cream cans.
Oh no! She discovers he's Peter Parker.
And she loves it. She loves it. She knew it all along. Might as well let everyone know at this point.
Dreamy ass.
Well, I like
Kirsten
that.
Dunst.
I like that she finds out not because he like reveals it to her. She just is there at the right time to see it. You know?
Like,
This moment's a cool, kind of ripped from the comics
Hi.
moment.
Sure, definitely.
And it's better than the 6,000 times you see that someone try to recreate the cover of Superman #1,
Right.
where he's holding the car.
didn't they do that in like Superman Returns or something? I seem to recall somebody trying to do that.
He's holding up a fucking plane and Superman returns.
I know that's the best scene in the movie.
So he spent weeks building this thing, and then he destroys it himself. All he needed was a therapist as well, I guess.
At the end of the day, I think all these people just need therapy.
Just take a moment, guys.
Love
Think
is
about
not enough.
Just you know, take a breath.
And think things through.
Think about it a little bit.
Too late. You're a monster. You know, the Dr. Octopus in the comic book was not sympathetic in the least bit, I seem to recall.
He's come along quite a bit.
Yeah,
since-
Oh, I think there was a point where he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Not in the beginning, he wasn't.
Spider-Man for a while.
for about 30 or so
Switch
issues.
That's right, they switch bodies.
Yeah.
That's another theme I love.
He
The old
was
switch the minds.
He was a superior Spider-Man
Yeah.
for a while.
He was a more efficient Spider-Man.
Right.
With
Is
a
he dead?
unibrow.
Is he dead?
We never know. The lights went out on his...
Flo's dead.
There goes
Harry.
Flo and Harry. But
So
Mo...
what happens to the sun in the middle of the ocean?
I don't know, but I seem to think that the sun would probably evaporate.
Based on my understanding of volcanoes, they become a new island. Which will become Asteroid M.
Nice.
Wouldn't her clothes like rip off if they were stuck on this web?
That's the idea. Yeah.
Breathless Mary Jane. Ruining my life. Like, this is... I think moments like this are why... Sometimes the like, wish fulfillment aspect of comics are really... Their portrayal in these movies are really to the detriment of people who enjoy...
Like, what do you mean?
The medium in general, in that... it's just that she immediately, like, kind of cowers to this... I'm breathless and weak and I'm looking at you. And it's not so much love, so much as like, oh, you're Spider-Man.
Ooh. I can see down your shirt.
I'm gonna rappel down this web that you're pooping out of your butt.
No, it's coming from his wrist, bro.
It should be coming out of his butt, though. Seriously. That always bugged me. That should have been
I don't know if
asshole.
that's necessarily the breathless thing is because he is Spider-Man. There's like maybe there's an aspect to it that she sees like the best that he could be, and that sort of like combined with the fact that she actually did care for him before she knew he was Spider-Man, and to see that he's also this guy that saves people on the regular, that kind of like. I mean, that's pretty like holy shit.
But that look isn't bewilderment. That look is longing, yearning, lust.
But because she like knew always that she was into him, but she didn't realize that he was also this amazing.
There was a
thing
piece of
as
him
well.
missing, and now she found it.
Right. You know, there was a yeah, exactly. There was a like, why was he always so absent? Why was he always so like unattentive?
Like, this is the first time she shows actual emotion.
Oh, I get it now. He was that way because he was fucking saving people.
Now she has to marry an astronaut. Life is hard.
This dumb astronaut.
Stupid ass.
Meanwhile,
There's a lot of kids
this
upside
billionaire
down.
can't get over this
blood in,
shit.
blood out here.
Poor billionaire can't get revenge on...
Richie Rich is...
Oh, the German tilt. The Dutch angle.
Dutch angle.
I remember
Is
the
that
theater.
going to be your wrestling name?
The Dutch angle.
That's the finisher. The
I
German
remember the
tilt.
theater being so excited by the fact that they actually got William Dafoe to come back to do this little.
Well, he's kind of... He was perfectly cast for...
I mean, he
frickin-
was Jesus Christ.
That's right. Yeah.
He was also perfectly cast in that. Such an awkward looking
But at
guy.
the time, it was unusual for like actors to show up in like the villains of the films to show up in the subsequent films. You know, you weren't really seeing that.
Especially after he was Hans Gruber.
Yeah, you know, it's sort of like, you know, they die and they go away and they don't come back. So for him to come back, it was like, oh my god, it's like a real comic book.
See that single tear? That's acting.
Norman Osborn never dies.
No!
Oh!
Oh, wow.
I'd take 2,000 James Francos over one Dane DeHaan. Even in the terrible goblin suit from these
They
movies.
hate us because they ain't us.
Peanut butter and jealous.
Peanut butter.
And that was the other thing, is that in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Green Goblin just looked like either the heat miser or the cold miser.
I know, he's like diseased. Dude, you are sick.
Why can't they get the Green Goblin look right? Is it that hard?
Because the
Would he
mask
really
idea
look that
is-
goofy?
The thing is, the mask idea is too old-fashioned.
But
and-
would it look that terrible?
No, I don't think so.
It looked badass in Maximum Overdrive.
Fuck
I don't see
yeah.
what the problem is.
That
I
truck was
think
badass.
Unfortunately, it was just like
That truck was
product of
was a
its
more.
time.
I think that truck had the most convincing performance as the Green Goblin
Absolutely.
of any cinematic portrayal of him to date.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It was an awesome wedding
But
scene.
but now it's wedding time. Yee.
Harry's got that green.
Again, I feel like we're back at Wayne's World 2.
Will you stop referencing Wales War 2? My God. Look, it's
Here's your bouquet.
that
It'd be
woman.
great to have James Hong in this.
She doesn't.
Christopher Walken.
All right.
Why is Jay Jemison's wife?
Because her mom, she doesn't she.
Because her mom is like a...
Her mom's
sad
like in the
alcoholic,
hospital or
right?
something.
Right. Oh, look at that green bow. I was so excited when I saw that too.
He is not that handsome.
What? He's hunky.
That's
Those
for
pants
an
are
Archie-
ill-fitting though.
Yeah.
You look at Archie.
For an astronaut, I suppose he's probably eye candy, but
Oh, Nessa again.
I'll just marry you. You're hot enough.
who are these people?
They're all our friends
Friends from the movie, for the play.
from the play. Fuck
It
you!
says-
I'm marrying
it says,
Spider-Man.
Sorry, bruh.
You mad, bro?
I like that they have. I like that they have like a 2,000 person wedding with like 3 people you recognize.
Well, he's probably really popular, right? He's an astronaut, so he's probably got a lot of people. on
You know,
his
a lot of
side.
successful
Lot of
astronaut
hangers-ons.
friends.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of press. Look, she's
couldn't change clothes?
This scene is great. She looks crazy.
And she got as far as
So
wearing the dress.
happy.
Like, she was really considering going through with it, apparently.
Well, she finally came to her senses. Meanwhile,
Single tear.
Peter Park
Single tear.
waiting for another piece of cake.
She's just sitting there, like, staring into nothingness. Oh, what was me?
Doors open.
You're not really here. This is just my ennui.
Got married. Why were you there? You're never there.
Whoa, that's clingy.
No one's ever said that to you?
No.
Have I said to you while they looked at you like,
Can't survive without.
But the thing is, like, that, it, like, works. Like, you know, this is, like, what you would want to hear, though.
This is wish fulfillment.
Yeah, this is really, like, wish fulfillment. I don't know I don't know how to explain it. Like you think about it now, it's like, fuck, that sounds terrible. Clingy ass.
But if
Bitch.
Kirsten Dunst said she couldn't live without me, I'd probably go along with it too.
Yeah. You know, like I said, there's a lot of stuff where you have to kind of go back to how you felt back then.
Well, in the first movie.
Yeah. You're kind of hoping for this.
Here we go.
I
Oh,
don't
it's so warm.
I'm a fan of the character, you know. It was like, oh man, it all brings it back to the way it was when I was reading it.
I'm glad I'm rewatching this because I'm realizing how unfulfilled I was by her actual performance. As opposed to when I watched this originally, I was just so attracted to her as eye candy that I didn't care.
The rest of the movie carried her for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, she's got red hair.
Boom.
Go get him, Tiger. See, I mean, that's fucking awesome.
She said a variation of that line in the first movie. But you have to hit the marks. This is obviously a love letter to people who love the comic books.
Yeah.
Whereas the third movie clearly really wasn't.
That was like corporate.
It's like, you made your movie, now we want to make ours. And we want Venom. Venom tests high with children.
The kids love him.
Kids love Venom.
And when he's in the subway, can he be eating a Subway sandwich? We'd like to get Jared in this.
In fact, I think we're going to cast him as Spider-Man.
I actually did like the way the movie ended with the sort of like ominous look here.
Like,
She knows she's in for a world of hurt.
I'm gonna be pretty unlikable in the next movie, ladies and gentlemen.
And I love the movie ends on that note. It doesn't end like in the first one where he's like on a fucking flagpole. It ends on that, so it's like, it's not all a bed of roses.
I totally missed Dylan Baker's appearance in this.
He was Kirk
I know it was
Connors.
Dr. Connors, but
He had like
He pointed
two
at
brief
Peter
scenes.
Parker. 0.23 volts.
was the John Paxton in this the backup point guard for your Chicago Bulls?
Was he? I just noticed half these people are. All right, I don't think we need to talk through the credits. So y'all agree? The 484th greatest
Man, this
film of all
movie
time.
deserves to be like
It's higher
twice,
for me.
Twice higher.
This is
3
in-
times higher. This is like top 100.
This
Whoa.
is if it's not in my top 100, I know it's in my top 200.
All right, Aaron.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm very excited and anxious to see what you have in front of this.
don't
The
look
rest of
forward
them
to it.
are going to be just even more
It's
amazing.
all gonna be Slacker.
We've already watched Slacker. It won't be Slacker again. I promise you that.
Slacker-esque.
Slacker 2, the
I-
slackening.
I can't say
It'll probably be Waking Life. Before sunset, before sunrise, after sunrise. All those fucking movies
I
will be in
do.
it.
I do love this
Slacker
movie.
3.
Slackening.
Am I slack enough for you?
Slackening. Slack off.
This-
And of course, Slackers with one of the Pete's from Pete and Pete.
Roger Ebert actually said that this was the best superhero film since the first Superman. And he actually said it was the fourth best film of 2004. Also,
Roger Ebert would know he was born on my birthday. Actually, I was born on his, I guess.
That's right, because he came before you.
Yes.
recognized. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, I don't think there's very few superhero movies that have. I mean, actually, if I think about it, I can't think of another one that surpasses this. Really,
Ooh, yeah, there are quite a few.
I don't know.
Rotten
Here.
Tomatoes. This is tied with Dark.
Okay. What is a better superhero movie than this?
Scott Pilgrim.
That's not a superhero movie. That's
Did you like,
a comic book.
did you like
Okay.
Unbreakable?
I like Unbreakable, but that's a different kind of superhero.
I like the first Captain America more than this.
Ooh. I mean, I love Captain America: First Avenger, but I don't love it as much as I love this.
X2.
I don't love it nearly as much as I love this.
The first Ninja Turtles movie.
What?
No, not even close.
What? Yeah.
That's a nostalgia thing.
You're going to hit me with the Howard the Duck next week.
No. I will never put Howard the Duck as a movie ahead of... I don't know if I would put that above Ben Affleck Daredevil.
But do you have a framed Spider-Man 2 poster?
No. But I have a framed Howard the Duck poster for two reasons. Number one, it was $5 at Denio's. Number two...
Already framed.
I love the... Well, no. I bought the frame after the fact. But I just love the character.
Yeah.
And And the character in the comic is very different than the character in the movie.
to say the least.
Right.
But
I mean,
visually, that movie poster is amazing.
We actually did
if I
talk.
would have to say there's like a top two superhero movies I love, Spider-Man 2 is one of them, Unbreakable is another one.
Mystery Men? No.
No.
Well, according to Rotten Tomatoes, this is tied with Dark Knight at 92% as the highest rated of superhero films. So there's that.
Again, Dark Knight's not even like a superhero movie. It's like a crime epic, a crime drama
With
that
people in
happens to have
costumes.
a dude dressed up as a bat.
I can tell you what my top superhero movies are.
Oh
You
man.
better hurry. The credits are. Well, actually, no. There's a long ass credit sequence.
What about you, Aaron? Where do you rank this among the superhero movies?
Yeah, it's got to be, definitely top 2 or 3 for me. I really liked Unbreakable. I don't know if I could recommend it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This one I would feel more comfortable saying, yeah, and pretty much anybody can watch this and enjoy it. Some people may not like the pacing of Unbreakable, but as far as movies being made, I really like the way it was done.
All right. The movie is basically over. Scott, I'm quit.
know.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next week. Until next time, you menaces, I bid you adieu.